I mean, he is a
very
villain,
tough.
so like I should be a fan really, but there you go. As a Ruby Amethyst player, I just can't get behind it. But we're going to see on the play is Edmond. We're going to Kit Cloud Kicker. That's easy for me to say. And play Diablo.
That standard turn 1 play here. Card that'll scoop up a little bit of lore and replace itself when it's banished. Ursula Deceiver coming down, taking a look at the hand. We do find a couple of targets for songs here. There's Let the Storm Rage On and Strength of Raging Fire. Normally the cards you see. And he's also getting some information there. There's Beyond the Horizon available for the later game. We won't be able to play that for just a little bit. But you can pair that with cards like Ursula Deceiver of All, of which we see 2 in hand. So Ed Chiu thinking here a couple different things. One, looking at the inkability of those songs. 2, just the value. But there it is. Let the Storm Rage On. Heading to the discard pile. We see it in French there.
We do, and worth noting, no 1-drop from Elie. Ed was on the play, played Diablo. Elie just went ink pass, and then we saw that Ursula Deceiver, the D100 set Ursula Deceiver at that. So a bit of a slower start from Elie, but does get down Morph Space Goo, who you can shift any character onto a Morph. I love Morph. I'm praying for a reprint. I do want to say, I think he's such an interesting character.
He is. He's a lot of fun. He opens up a lot of different play lines. So
Absolutely.
versatile. And in this deck, there's plenty of cards that you can shift onto it. Now, Ed got to look at that hand, and he knows what's there, but he's going to say, I'm not going to allow that Morph to stick around at all. It's getting kicked back to hand with Kit Cloud Kicker. Tough guy, I believe.
Yep, tough guy. 2/2, quest for 1, but it's that ability that we won, bouncing back a character of 2 strength or less.
It's a huge, huge part of this deck's game plan to try to hit that, to ruin your opponent's tempo or mess up their play lines. Getting that on turn 3, bouncing that Morph is a pretty rough play from Edmond.
It is rough for Elie. Does proceed to turn 3, and we're going to play Ursa, Deceiver of All. If she sings a song, you get that effect, the effect of that song completely again, and then that song goes to the bottom of your deck. So singing things like Storm, that's 4 damage and draw 2. Strength can be obviously variable damage, but times it by 2 if you sing it with Ursula. But down comes the Genie, Liam.
Oh, there's that Genie. Ed, we talked about how Ed didn't run any in the North American Challenge to win it, and here he is in this deck,
making up for
run
it now.
here, making up for it now. And look at that hand with all those uninkables, 3 Diablos. I mean, there's just not a lot of ink available. We did get that second card down, so we're going to sing that song twice. Strength of a Raging Fire.
Yeah, man. Although
with
that
all the
was Let
force
the Storm Rage On.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't do that one as well.
I didn't want to, but I wanted to just sing what you were singing, so I didn't. I
love you playing into it, though. Thank you for that.
But yeah, Storm doing 4 damage to the Genie that had just been played and drawing 2 cards for Elie is pretty good.
That's true. So that Diablo is established. We're going to get to use that next turn, but Edmond pushing his lore total higher, being the aggressive here, the beatdown, which he wants to be in this matchup. The thing with these discard decks is they aren't doing what they used to do and trying to force you into top deck mode very, very early. They want to gain a little tempo early, but then they're kind of a combo deck, and they want to build up a board state in the later game with Prince John's, Ursula Deceiver of All's on board. And there's a fun, spicy card, though.
The new Maui from Reign of Jafar, quest for 3, and when he's banished, you get to choose. You can either banish all opposing items, all opposing locations, or, and you correct me if I'm wrong, 2 damage on each opposing character?
I believe that's right. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that effect anymore because he's going to go straight to the Inkwell at this point. Inkwell is being a problem for Elie this matchup so far. So there he is in the Inkwell. Maybe we'll see him in a later game.
Lots of burbs, though.
Lots of Oh, and here comes the Elsa. The Elsa is the answer to the Diablo. We're going to exert that 1 Diablo, challenge it, 2 damage there, and then quest with everything else. That 1 Diablo will stay online, but it's a lot of lore being accumulated now, and Elie just not a lot of wide removal answers here, unless he can get a Deceiver of All on board, which would take a little while, and it's right now just too much.
There you go. Just offers the handshake. Get Edmond off to an incredible start, and Elie not with a lot going on. A couple of burbs that, you know, are going to need a full turn before they can turn sideways anyway. So Ed's taking game 1. And worth mentioning to the audience, game 1 was taken by Ed. Ed has had to swap to Ruby Sapphire. Elie had the choice to either stick to the same deck or switch, which he has chosen to do. Amber Sapphire, super aggressive. There are puppies. There are warded characters. And Edmond missing the 1-drop. No Porpoise on turn 1. It's not the end of the world, but can we see a Ludwig von Drake? Yes, there's one.
Oh, there is one in hand. We kept at least one. There's Ludwig von Drake. We're going to take a look. And we didn't play it. We played the Weselton instead. Weaselton, rather, in this case. Weaselton.
That is a fascinating play. The Ludwig von Drake, I would have snapped down in a moment, but Elie knows this deck and this game a lot better than me. It's clearly prioritizing the early lore, which I can get on board with that, right?
Wants to run away with this quickly. There's possibly a line that he wants to pursue here, getting that Thunderbolt down very, very quickly, perhaps on turn 4, and protecting all of his characters. Let's see. We do have that Popsicle now after we ramped, and that Bell now drawing into that. So drawing into several cards here in the proper sequence in order to get them on board. Ed now with the Bell established. Back over to the other side. We're going to miss on that activation of the Daisy Duck as it quests for 2.
Oh, did we get a miss there? I missed the trigger there.
We did.
What was it?
I didn't see what it was, but it went to the bottom.
Okay.
There's Lady into Ludwig, so we will now grab that Brawl. Lady coming down. Lady, of course, a 3-cost character now. You can play another character for free, so getting 5 ink worth of characters on board for 3 ink, and that board getting a little wide now.
I take back my previous statement. If you had the Lady to be able to play the Ludwig for free, it does make more sense to play the Duke, who obviously is going to quest for 1 more on this turn. So obviously it came at the cost of not being able to potentially snipe that turn 2 ramp, but Edmond had the TPO anyway. So I changed my mind. I really like this.
Well, and hitting that Brawl doesn't feel too bad either at all.
Any hit really is pretty good.
So
Bell is going to go on a challenge. Taking out that Duke
Weaselton.
Are we both swapping?
Both voiced
Whichever one I say, you're going to correct me to the other one, aren't you?
It's a Disney joke. They go back and forth. And both voiced by Alan Tudyk. So here we go. It's a Daisy trap here. Daisy into Bell, getting 3 damage on. We'll play that Rapunzel, get 3 cards off healing the Daisy, and recharging.
Just, obviously, the players have obviously identified something has happened there, so they're just doing a quick check.
Oh, okay.
I think we've drawn 4 accidentally.
Eli snagged 4, it seems, off the top of the deck by mistake, is letting the judge know, hey, I accidentally handled an extra card here. I don't know if it's been looked at or not, but the judge is going to resolve this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he saw it, but even if whether he did or didn't, absolutely the right decision for these players to just go, hold up, let's just see what is the official way that we should deal with this. And it appears the ruling, I expect I'll get confirmation of that in my ear in a moment, but it appears to be that we're just shuffling those 4 cards together, and Ed being given the choice to put one of them back on top, and then we're going to shuffle the entire deck.
Eli knows, like, now, if he did see the cards, what one of them is, and so we're going to put it in the middle, so there's no chance we know it's on the top deck. So we do have 2 Thunderbolts in hand now. Thunderbolt, a really fun card we don't see played very often. It can shift onto puppies, but more importantly, it's also a 3/7 bodyguard.
7 willpower is a lot of willpower, Liam.
That's true. A lot to
Even Maui Hero to All can't take it out.
No, coming up just short.
Yep. No, this Thunderbolt's super interesting, and the puppy shift. I'm loving these cool ways of shifting that we're getting as the game goes on. The puppy shift, the universal shift on that Baymax.
Yeah, I love that those different mechanics they keep coming out with. Allows for all sorts of interesting play lines.
Just to confirm, I have had confirmation. That is what happened there. It was just 1 extra card was drawn, so that was the ruling, that those 4 cards were shuffled. 1 was put back on the deck, on top of the deck at random, chosen by Ed to be random, and then the deck was shuffled.
But here we are, Edmond coming down with some control here, especially with that Sisu picking that Rapunzel. And so all of a sudden the board looking a little less intimidating there. Elie has managed to push his Lord to 10. Probably wants to be a little bit higher at this point because we're getting closer and closer to that scary 7 ink when the board reset becomes a possibility. And there's that Thunderbolt we talked about.
Yep, Thunderbolt coming down in bodyguard to protect this Daisy Duck. And yeah, there was a warning given for that prior error. Again, this is the top tier of competitive play. Obviously, these players are fantastic. Mistakes happen, but we do need to make sure that we are respecting the rules and just doing things the right way. So just a warning given to Elie, but from my understanding, it's his first one today. These things will happen.
And I think he identified it himself if I saw it correctly.
Yes, absolutely.
So
absolute faith. 100%.
Yeah.
Elie's a great guy as well.
So there we have that Thunderbolt in bodyguard. It'll protect him from the challenge. Ed with visions of the future, looking at the top 5 cards of his deck, looking for an answer here.
The workshop is pretty nice. Again, that is our draw engine, but we're going to take the Brawl, which I do respect. We need to be able to remove these characters, and with the Sapphire Coil on the board, all we need to do is ink 1 card, and then both Brawl or another Sisu Daring Visitor can answer this Thunderbolt. And then Scrooge can finish off the Daisy. There we go.
The ink, so it's a 1/2 combo.
That's it. Exactly as we said there. We're going to ink the Tamatoa. We target the Thunderbolt, Brawl it, and then Scrooge taking on Daisy is a bit sad, but it's got to be done.
Here we go. Did draw into the Lady, so Lady into Ludwig Gondrake again. We saw that earlier, and then enough ink to play the Wendy Darling there. So going wide immediately, taking a look at the hand. I think all we had in there was a crab, so nothing to pick, and it's back over to Edmond for the response.
Yeah, Wendy Darling, a really interesting character. She is awarded character and support. So when she goes on a quest, you can add her strength to another character's strength. That being said, Elie doesn't really want to be challenging with this deck. You just want to, if you're exerting, then well, you're questing, right?
Indeed, that's the game plan. That's the game plan.
Ed is going to go on a quest of his own with the Scrooge and the Daring Visitor. Again, we can't interact with the board at present, so that's all we can do. Wendy going to quest for another 2.
Looks like we'll give support to Drake and then into the Scrooge McDuck.
Nice, okay. Again, like I said, you don't want to be challenging much, but that seems like a really nice challenge to make. You were only questing for 1 anyway. Get rid of this Scrooge so that your ability to get rid of these characters is minimized. And another Thunderbolt coming down, Liam.
Yeah, none of the Thunderbolt coming down, which means that challenge, getting that 4 strength off the board, is absolutely huge. And now we do have the crowd on the board, which could challenge into something like the Thunderbolt, do a significant amount of damage. But you want that crab to be questing. You're a little crabby if you have it challenging into things instead of getting items for free. So let's see how Ed navigates this board state, because all of a sudden, Elie went from an empty board state to 8 lore on the board.
And at 14 lore already, so
have here, but although Ed...
and items that we could get back with more Tamatoas, I'm sure.
Yeah, in this deck, the items in your discard pile almost become another hand. Those are resources that you can draw on later, and so keeping track of what's in there is super important.
Yeah, 100%. When your discard pile can become a resource, that's going to feel pretty good.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What a top deck. Draws the Enchanted Sisu off the top deck, shifting it and clearing the board. Oh, brutal. Ed didn't have a lot of hand, and there was a good chance that Elie would have been able to survive that turn, that Sisu coming down and ending the game, it looks like. Oh my goodness, what a top deck.